If you're getting close to retirement or if you're in retirement now, today I'm going to walk you through how to retire with a $2 million plus portfolio without ever running out of money. Now, the first thing I'm going to share with you has nothing to do with numbers or retirement accounts. What you want to do is you want to practice retirement. So what does that mean? Well, if you have the means, you have the ability to take 3 weeks off of work, take a month off, take 2 weeks off, take a mini sabbatical if you can, try it out. That's the most important thing. Do you even want to retire? What will you do with your time? Will you do hobbies? Will you take up a side hustle or a side business, or will you garden? You know what I mean? You have to practice retirement, because what I have found in my practice is sometimes people retire, but they retire for the wrong reason. They retire only because they're sick of their job or they're just tired. But then they take some time off, and after 6 months they're bored, and then they want to go back to work or start a business or do part-time work, consulting, etc. So first thing is practice retirement. The next thing is you want to know your numbers. So what do I mean by that? You want to take a look at your balance sheet. So take a look at all your assets, all your debts if you have any. Then you want to look at your bills that you have to pay. Then your inflows and outflows. You have to have a clear understanding of your numbers, because if you don't know your numbers, then you're basically just walking in the dark, essentially, and you don't want to do that. You want to have a clear idea of how much you have, what's your net worth, and how you're going to sustain a retirement without consistent income. Now, once you know your numbers, and you can get a little bit more prescriptive when it comes to your life goals. So the next thing is you want to try your best to create life goals. So an example of a life goal could be, maybe you want to relocate to a different city, to a different state. Maybe you want to downsize from the house that you have, or maybe you want to upsize, who knows? Maybe you want to plan for gifts for your children, or help them purchase homes, or help pay for their education, or grandchildren. Maybe you want to do some charitable contributions or build some type of legacy fund, maybe something of that nature. So a great tool or a great book that you can use to help you develop goals is Your Best Year Ever by Michael Hyatt. It's a great book. Highly recommend you order it. All right, next is you want to figure out a sustainable investment strategy that works. So I'm not talking about impact investing or ESG or anything like that. What I'm talking about is having an investment portfolio that's too conservative. So maybe you have too much cash or too many bonds, too many CDs, money markets, high yield savings accounts, versus somebody that maybe has too many equities. Maybe they have all their net worth in one company stock, which I do see that a lot. So you want to make sure that you're not overweighted on each side. You don't want to have too many bonds and cash. You don't have too many equities, but you want to have balance. And that could look different for you. You could have a 50-50 portfolio between 50% stocks, 50% bonds, maybe a traditional 60-40 where you're 60% stocks and 40% bonds, whatever the case may be. But the one thing you cannot do is you can't be overly aggressive and you can't be overly conservative. And I'm more of a fan of having more equities in your portfolio, more stocks, funds, ETFs, things of that nature, because when you retire, you have to assume that you're going to need this money to grow for the next 30 years. You have to assuming you're in good health, that you are going to live another 30 plus years, especially with all the innovation in healthcare and treatments and medicines and everything that's going on. People are living a lot longer. So we need to think of ourselves as long-term investors, even though it might not seem that way because you're retiring now. You want to think of yourself always as a long-term investor, because you have the next 30 plus years you got to worry about. Next thing is you want to look at all your guaranteed income strategies. So what are some examples of this? So Social Security, maybe you have old pensions, maybe you have an annuity or annuities, or maybe you have some inherited IRAs. These are all guaranteed income strategies that will really help you when you're trying to spend on a day-to-day basis and trying to manage money on a day-to-day basis. So the more guaranteed income strategies you have, the less you actually have to pull from your retirement accounts. So whatever your monthly number is, I'm just going to make the math easy. Let's say you have $10,000 of living expenses, but you get $5,000 of guaranteed income from the various tools I mentioned, then that means you only need to withdraw, hypothetically, $5,000 a month from your investment portfolio, which will ultimately impact your withdrawal rate and create a more sustainable income strategy throughout your retirement. Now, this is a good segue. The next is you need to plan your withdrawal strategy. So what do I mean by that? So you might have heard of the 4% rule, or you might have heard the go-go, slow-go, no-go strategies I referenced in other videos. You might have heard the guardrail strategy, the spending smile strategy. A lot of these I've talked about on various videos that I'll link below. But the most common is usually people take some type of withdrawal rate, especially if you're managing your own portfolio, you're managing your own wealth. Most common people are taking anywhere from like a 3.5% or 5% withdrawal rate from their portfolio every single year. So you want to figure out, what does that withdrawal rate look for you? And when you account for, like I said, your guaranteed income streams, and you know your numbers, you know your expenses, and you can determine from that portfolio if 3.5 is going to cut it, if 4 is going to cut it, etc. So you want to plan your withdrawal strategy and know how much you're going to be withdrawing on a monthly or even annual basis. Next is you want to plan for unexpected events. So you want to plan for premature disability, or maybe a household situation. You have a flood in your house. By the way, we had 3 floods or pipe burst leaks in our home since we've lived in it. Then you also want to plan for healthcare events. So it's really taking a look at those emergencies, those things that will come up unexpectedly. So you want to prepare for those unexpected events, set aside an emergency fund, or at least a portion of your portfolio in conservative vehicles, so that you can pull from these things and not have to trigger tax by selling off some stocks or bonds or anything like that. In my opinion, if you have 6 months in a high yield savings account emergency fund of your living expenses, that should be fine. If you have the means though, you maybe want to have more, right? If you can. And some people feel comfortable having 100 grand in the bank or 50 grand in the bank. It really just depends on you emotionally. But that being said, you just need to have some money set aside for those unexpected events. The next thing is you want to review your insurance coverages. So if you have life insurance, are they expiring, or do you have permanent life insurance? You want to review those. You might not even need life insurance anymore. If you have no debt and you have millions of dollars saved, you probably don't even need it, unless you're in a crazy high tax bracket and you want to try to avoid some estate taxes, where you have $50 million plus that you're going to leave behind, and it could make sense. But if you're already getting close to retired, you have, like I said, no debt, you don't have a big responsibility, your kids are already adults, you're probably okay being self-insured. Then you want to double check your health insurance. Are you going to need a Medicare gap policy or Medicare Advantage policies? Really important to talk to an insurance broker about those types of things. Your homeowner's insurance. Man, I live in California and I have a lot of clients that were impacted by all the fires. So do you have homeowner's insurance? Do you have the right coverage? Some homeowner insurance providers have pulled out of California. So you just want to make sure that you have insurance, that you're properly protected. And if not, we have to go find some good homeowner's insurance for you. If you're still working and you make a lot of money, or you have some type of occupation that requires your physical body to be intact and working properly, then consider it a short-term or long-term disability policy. If you have history of family illness like Alzheimer's, dementia, etc., consider getting a long-term care policy. If you need help, you need home care, or you need to go to a facility, things like that. Umbrella insurance, car insurance, all those things are so important. And we don't really know how important those things are until something happens. So very important to review those insurance coverages. Next is you want to plan for taxes. So knowing when you have to take your required minimum distributions, knowing your tax bracket, considering opportunities to tax loss harvest or tax loss gain on your taxable investments. You might be a great candidate to do some Roth conversions, where we're taking money from your traditional accounts and paying the taxes now and then converting them to Roth accounts. And you want to be very careful about that, because there are some nuances there, but at a very high level, you might be in a position where it could work out for you to do that. It might not. That's when it might make sense to seek guidance on that. But you do want to plan for taxes. You want to plan for opportunities. You want to stay in the know when it comes to your overall tax situation. And finally, when it's all said and done, you need to create a comprehensive estate plan. It could be as simple as getting wills, getting a revocable trust, your power of attorneys, and your healthcare proxies or healthcare power of attorneys. All of these things are important because if you get incapacitated, you want to make sure someone's able to make decisions and sign documents on your behalf. You don't want to leave decisions to be made by your beneficiaries or the people that you want to provide your or give your assets to. You don't want them to make decisions for you. You want to reduce confrontation, reduce stress, have everything in legal documents so that people can just follow your wishes, not their wishes, and you can properly protect your estate, keep things private, avoid probate in most cases, but really just have everything in place and organized so that it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when you leave this earth, that your family and whoever it is that will be receiving your assets will know exactly what to do. There'll be no tough decisions they'll have to make. So there you have it. Those are 10 things that you can do as soon as possible to help you retire with a $2 million plus portfolio without running out of money. On my next video, I'm going to actually run through a case study with my financial planning software, and I'm going to show you how this could work from a number standpoint with a $2 million example and somebody retiring pretty soon. So thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you get all the fresh content that's coming out. I put a new video out every single week. Thanks so much for listening. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments here, and I'll see you on the next one. Once again, it's Eric Rodriguez here. If you're looking to get help securing your financial future and you're serious about implementing a wealth plan for your specific situation, feel free to check out my website, wealthbllc.com, to learn more about how I work with clients, how I help them align their resources with their values, and put together a comprehensive plan to help them retire on their terms.